Hey everyone, and welcome back to the deep dive. You guys sent in some really cool research on deadly creatures, and I gotta admit, I thought I knew a thing or two about this stuff, like lions and sharks and all.
Right.
But after looking through all this material, well, let's just say I'm ready for some surprises.
Well, you might be shocked to find out that the deadliest animal on Earth isn't a massive predator like you'd think,
Hmm.
but actually it's a tiny little insect, something most of us encounter all the time.
Oh, come on! Don't tell me it's like
It's the mosquito.
mosquitoes. Okay, I get that they're annoying, but deadliest in the world. Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not like one bite and you drop dead or anything. But the thing about mosquitoes is they spread all kinds of nasty diseases
Oh, right, like really?
like malaria,
Right.
dengue fever, Zika virus.
Well, yeah.
I mean, all of those are spread through mosquito bites and end up causing hundreds of thousands of deaths every single year.
Wow. I mean, I guess I never really thought about it like that. It's kind of wild how such a small creature can have such a massive impact on the whole world.
It really is.
Yeah.
When you think about it, the mosquito has evolved such a brilliant survival strategy.
Hmm.
I mean, they use other animals as a food source
Yeah.
and also as a way to spread their offspring around.
Yeah, it's like a free ride for their babies.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
spreading their genes far and wide.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, but also kind of terrifying when you think about it.
No kidding. So from the air, let's plunge into the ocean.
Okay.
Speaking of creatures with pretty amazing survival strategies, have you ever heard of the box jellyfish?
Oh, the box jellyfish.
I mean, it looks harmless, just like a little transparent blob floating around, but I hear it's one of the most venomous things in the entire ocean.
It really is. The box jellyfish, it's a perfect example of how evolution has really just perfected some of these crazy defense mechanisms.
Mhm.
Its venom is so strong it can cause incredible pain, paralysis, and even death within minutes. Imagine like you're swimming in the ocean, right? You
Yeah.
have no idea what's around.
Just enjoying yourself.
Exactly. And then bam, hit with unimaginable pain.
Ouch. Okay, that is officially nightmare fuel. So what makes the venom so deadly?
Well, it's a really complex mix of different toxins
Hmm.
that they attack your heart, nervous system, skin cells, pretty much everything.
Oh, wow.
It just totally disrupts your body's ability to function, leading to organ failure really quickly.
Okay. And there's no anti-venom.
Not yet. I
Yeah.
mean, people are working on it. But it's so complex
Yeah.
that it's really hard to figure out a cure. So for now, the best thing you can do is, well, just try to avoid them. Stay out of the habitat
Right.
and, wear a stinger suit if you have to go in the water where they are.
Okay, I'm definitely adding box jellyfish avoidance to my list of travel tips.
Neat idea.
But let's move on from the ocean. Let's head to the African savanna. And we'll encounter a creature that's, well, I guess a little more upfront about its power, you know what I mean? The Cape buffalo?
Oh, yeah, the Cape buffalo, often called the Black Death.
Oh,
They're a force of nature, incredibly strong.
yeah.
And, kind of famous for their bad temper and their tendency to charge without any warning.
Oh, I've seen videos of those charges. Absolutely terrifying. They don't mess around at all, so what makes them so aggressive?
Well, they're very social animals. They live in large herds. And that means they have this strong instinct to protect their young ones in
Yeah.
their territory. But they're also prey animals.
Right.
So they're always on edge, always looking out for predators like lions.
So basically, always ready for a fight.
Pretty much always ready to defend themselves.
I guess that explains the whole Black Death nickname. Speaking of dangerous from Africa, let's slither on over to Australia, home to some of the most venomous creatures on Earth, including the inland taipan.
Oh, now that is a snake with a reputation. The inland taipan has the most toxic venom of any snake on land in the entire world. One bite is enough to kill, get this, over 100 adult humans.
One bite. 100 people. That's unbelievable.
It is.
But here's the thing. I've heard they're actually really shy. They like to keep to themselves.
That's true. They're not aggressive at all.
So it's like they have this weapon of mass destruction, but
Right.
they only use it as like a last resort.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, think about it. Their venom probably evolved to take down smaller prey, like mammals and reptiles.
Mm-hmm.
It's so strong so they can subdue their prey really quickly
Right.
and avoid getting injured themselves.
That makes sense. It's a good reminder that nature often has a reason for even its most, well, excessive designs. But while the inland taipan might avoid humans, our next creature, well, they're a little more proactive when it comes to hunting. Let's go way back in time, all the way to the age of dinosaurs, to meet the saltwater crocodile.
Wow, the saltwater crocodile.
Yeah.
Now those guys are survivors. A true testament to evolution. They're the biggest living reptile,
Yeah, I've seen them.
and they can get up to 23 feet long
23 feet.
and over 2,200 pounds. Their jaws are unbelievably powerful,
I can imagine.
crushing bones, no problem. And they have a bite force of over 3,700 pounds per square inch,
Wow. I mean, that's what, like 20 times stronger than a human bite?
at least. So yeah, no wonder they're at the top of the food chain.
So how do they hunt?
They're what we call ambush predators. They hide in the water perfectly
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
waiting for some unsuspecting animal to come close, and then bam, they attack.
Oh, you don't even have to paint the picture. I get it. They're not messing around. But what's really fascinating about them is they've been around since the dinosaurs. I mean, they survived multiple mass extinctions.
I know. It's remarkable, isn't it? It's their adaptability, their hunting skills, and their ability to live in so many different environments. That's what makes them one of evolution's biggest success stories.
So from a prehistoric predator to a creature that's just drop dead, gorgeous, but just as dangerous. The cone snail.
The cone snail, beautiful creature.
I know, they're known for those colorful shells, but don't let the beauty fool you, right? They've got a pretty powerful secret weapon.
They really do. They're like masters of disguise. Those
Yeah.
beautiful shells attract all kinds of collectors. But hiding underneath is it's a very sophisticated weapon. They have this harpoon-like tooth.
Wait, a harpoon?
Yes, a harpoon.
Wow.
And it injects this super potent neurotoxin into their prey, paralyzes them almost instantly.
So they basically turned their tongue into a weapon.
Exactly. And the venom, it's a cocktail of toxins that attack the nervous system, can cause paralysis, intense pain, and even death.
They're like tiny venomous ninjas.
They really are. And they have this nickname, pretty grim,
Yeah.
the cigarette snail.
Cigarette snail. Okay, why that name?
Well, it's kind of a dark joke. Because if you get stung by one, you only have enough time to smoke a cigarette before the venom gets you.
Okay, that's pretty morbid. I think I'll just admire their shells from afar.
Probably a good idea.
But speaking of creatures that are often misjudged, let's talk about an animal that's, well, a lot of people think they're cute and cuddly, but they're actually super dangerous.
Yeah, hippopotamus.
Oh, the hippopotamus.
Exactly.
They might seem docile, but they are one of the most dangerous animals in all of Africa.
Oh, I know. Super territorial.
Incredibly, and very aggressive, especially when it comes to protecting their babies or their turf.
It's crazy. I heard that hippos kill more people in Africa than lions and sharks combined. Is that true?
It is. It's a statistic that surprises a lot of people. They're responsible for a ton of fatalities every year, mostly because they're so unpredictable and incredibly strong.
Yeah, they're huge.
Huge, yes. I mean, they can weigh up to almost 10,000 pounds.
10,000 pounds.
And you wouldn't think it, but they're actually pretty fast, too. They can run up to 19 miles an hour.
Oh, wow. That's faster than I can run. So what should people do if they come across a hippo in the wild? Well, the best thing to do is keep your distance, a big distance,
Okay.
and definitely don't approach them, especially if they're near water. That's when they get really aggressive.
Got it. No hippo selfies.
Exactly. So from the massive hippo, let's dive back into the ocean
Back to the ocean.
and meet a creature that's, well, it's beautiful and deadly in equal measure. The blue-ringed octopus.
Oh, yeah. I've seen pictures. They're really pretty.
Stunning, really. A perfect example of how looks can be deceiving. They're tiny little things, just a few inches across, but they have these bright blue rings that, well, they flash when the octopus feels threatened.
It's like something out of an alien movie.
It is. But those rings, they're a warning sign.
Yeah, so what makes them so dangerous?
Well, their venom is packed with this neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin.
Tetrodotoxin.
Yes. It blocks your nerve signals, which leads to paralysis.
I heard the scariest part is you stay conscious through the whole thing.
It is terrifying. Imagine you're completely aware of what's happening, but you can't move, can't speak. Your body just shuts down.
Oh, man. Okay, that is officially at the top of my creatures to avoid list. Okay, last one. From the ocean. Let's head to the dinner table.
The dinner table.
Yeah, because our last creature is actually a delicacy, but it can also be deadly. The pufferfish.
Ah, the pufferfish, or fugu, as it's known in Japan.
Right, fugu.
Prized delicacy, yes, but also one of the most poisonous creatures in the world.
It's like culinary Russian roulette, right? What makes it so poisonous?
Well, it contains this potent neurotoxin. It's called, well, it has the same name as the octopus toxin.
Tetrodotoxin.
Tetrodotoxin again.
Yeah, and it's concentrated in the pufferfish's liver and ovaries.
And there's no antidote for it.
No, there isn't. It blocks your nerve signals, leads to paralysis, respiratory failure, and then death. It's incredibly dangerous.
So how do people even eat it?
Well, in Japan, chefs have to undergo years of training. It's very strict. They have to learn how to remove the toxic organs really carefully,
Oh.
leaving just enough of the flesh to eat. Even a tiny mistake can be fatal. That's some serious culinary skill. Okay, so we've talked about all these incredible creatures, but there's one more that we have to address. Humans.
Oh, yes, of course, humans.
I think it's the perfect time to move on to part 2 of our deep dive,
Oh,
where we can explore the impact of humans on the planet and how our actions affect, well, the balance of nature. Stay tuned.
it's kind of funny,
What's that?
we spend all this time talking about deadly creatures, but we forget that humans can be the most destructive force out there.
It's true. We don't always think of ourselves as part of nature, but
Yeah.
when you look at the impact we've had, habitat destruction, pollution, climate change, it's pretty clear that we're a force to be reckoned with.
And it's fascinating. There's this concept called the Anthropocene.
Anthropocene.
Yeah. It's this idea that we've entered a new geological epoch, basically a new chapter in Earth's history.
Oh, wow.
And it's defined by human activity being the dominant force on the planet's environment.
So you're saying, like, the planet's operating differently now because of us.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. We've reshaped landscapes, we've caused extinctions, we've even changed the composition of the atmosphere.
That's a lot of responsibility.
It is. No other species has ever had this level of impact on the planet.
That's almost hard to wrap your head around,
It is. And the consequences are pretty far-reaching. Let's take habitat destruction, for example.
Okay.
As humans expand, we take up more and more space, right? Which means less space for other species. We clear forests for agriculture. We drain wetlands to build things. Coral reefs are dying because of rising ocean temperatures. It all adds up.
It's like we're slowly but surely pushing all the other species out.
And it's not just about space. When we lose biodiversity, it weakens ecosystems.
Right.
Makes them vulnerable to disease, to climate change, all sorts of threats.
So it's like a domino effect.
Exactly.
One species goes and the whole system starts to fall apart.
Right. And then you add pollution to the mix.
Yeah, that's a big one.
We dump so much stuff into the environment. Chemicals, plastics, waste in all kinds. It contaminates our water, the soil, the air. It's like we're treating the planet like a giant trash can.
Yeah, and we don't always see the long-term effects.
No, we don't.
Right.
But those toxins build up in the food chain, they poison wildlife, and they even affect human health.
It's all connected.
It is. And then, of course, there's climate change. Probably the biggest threat we're facing right now.
Absolutely. Burning fossil fuels, releasing greenhouse gases, trapping heat. It's causing the planet to warm up way too fast.
And we're already seeing the effects. Sea levels are rising, we're getting more extreme weather events, and climate patterns are changing. It's affecting agriculture, ecosystems, everything.
It feels like a global crisis,
Yeah.
But sometimes it feels like we're not doing enough.
It's a complex problem, that's for sure. There are economic factors, political factors, social factors. It's all tied together.
But are there any signs of hope?
There are. Renewable energy technologies are getting better all the time. And more people are becoming aware of the problem.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how our ideas about danger have changed, Like, we used to be afraid of predators, like lions and tigers.
Right.
But now the biggest threat to our survival might actually be ourselves.
It's true, but it's also empowering in a way.
How so?
Because it means we have the power to change things. We can recognize the harm we're causing, and we can choose to do things differently.
So if we're the problem, does that mean we're also the solution?
Exactly. We have the technology, we have the resources, we just need to find the will to act.
It's a big challenge, but I have to believe that we're up to it. I mean, we're the species that put a man on the moon, right? We split the atom, we mapped the human genome. We can figure this out.
And remember what we were talking about earlier, that idea of compounding?
Yeah.
Well, it applies here too. Small actions multiplied by millions of people can have a huge impact.
So what are some of those small actions that can make a big difference?
Well, there are lots of things we can do. Reduce our carbon footprint, walk, bike, take public transport instead of driving. Conserve energy at home, eat less meat, support businesses that are trying to be sustainable. It all adds up.
So it's about making conscious choices every day.
It is. It's about understanding that every action we take, every purchase we make, has an impact on the planet.
It's funny. We started by talking about all these dangerous creatures.
Right.
But there's a common thread that runs through all their stories. adaptation.
I see what you do.
They've all evolved to survive in their environments. They've found ways to overcome challenges, to thrive.
That's a great point.
And in a way, that's what we need to do now. We need to adapt to a changing planet, find ways to live sustainably so that everyone can survive.
Not just humans, but all the other species out there.
Exactly. It's a call to action, isn't it? To use our intelligence, our creativity, our compassion to become better caretakers of this planet.
It is. It's about changing our perspective. We're not separate from nature. We're a part of it.
And our fate is tied to the fate of all living things.
Exactly.
That's a pretty profound thought.
It
I
is.
think that's a good place to pause for now.
Okay.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore what it means to be a responsible inhabitant of this planet and how we can all embrace our role as stewards of the natural world.
Stay tuned. Well, we've come a long way, haven't we? From tiny mosquitoes to massive crocodiles, we've explored some of the deadliest creatures on Earth. But what have we really learned from all this?
You know, it's interesting. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is that danger isn't always what you'd expect. It's not always some big scary monster, right? It
Yeah.
can be something tiny, something beautiful, something that seems completely harmless at first glance.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to never underestimate the power of nature, no matter what form it takes.
Exactly. And the other thing that really stands out is just how interconnected everything is. You know,
Yeah.
we lose one species, it can have a ripple effect on the whole ecosystem. It's like that butterfly effect, right?
Yeah. One tiny action can have huge unintended consequences. But that also means that small actions can create positive change too.
That's a good point.
We've been talking about this idea of compounding, right? How small changes in our daily lives can add up to big results over time.
And those small changes, those everyday choices, those can make a real difference.
Absolutely. Walking instead of driving, conserving energy, supporting sustainable businesses, it all matters.
It's about shifting our focus from me to we, realizing that we're all part of something much bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, we're all connected. And the choices we make today will affect the future for ourselves and for generations to come.
You know, it's funny, we started this deep dive talking about all these dangerous animals, but we ended up talking about ourselves.
It's true. In a way, humans are the most dangerous creatures on Earth.
But we also have the potential to be the solution.
Exactly. We have the knowledge, we have the tools, we just need to find the will to act.
It's about making conscious choices every single day to create a better future for everyone.
That's it. It's about respecting nature, understanding its power, and recognizing our own responsibility to protect it.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey through the world of deadly creatures. It's been a wild ride, that's for sure.
It has.
We've learned a lot, faced some fears, and hopefully come away with a deeper appreciation for the incredible diversity of life on Earth.
I hope so.
And remember, even though we focused on the dangers out there, nature is also a source of immense beauty, wonder, and